can a recession impact and affect your frontline leaders? I'm Greg Schenkel, President of Unique Training and Development and Frontline Leadership Systems. And today we need to look at how a recession is affecting frontline leaders and give you some tips for how you can increase the effectiveness of your leaders even when there's a business downturn. The myth is, of course, that there's no way to prepare my leaders for a slowdown or a recession because we're not sure of what the outcomes are. But the fact is, frontline leaders need to be prepared to work efficiently as you have to downsize or right-size your workforce. And so it's not something you want to leave to chance. Now, this isn't really a positive topic, but inevitably in manufacturing and distribution, there are going to be ups and downs. And so if your organization is entering kind of a soft period, and not all of them are, but you might be, then you're going to need to prep your supervisors for how to deal with that. Now, one group of supervisors in one of our client locations was really struggling about how they were going to deal with the fact that they were going to go through some sort of restructuring and downsize about 15% of their workforce. They just couldn't even fathom how are they going to redo their work processes to deal with having fewer workers. By helping them through some of those critical thinking skills, we really helped them be better prepared to think through how they could meet the slightly lower production numbers with, again, slightly fewer team members. And so I've got a few tips for how you can help your leaders get prepared and basically how a recession affects frontline leaders. Tip number one is to clarify the right amount of labor. A lot of times as your organization's been going through a growth cycle, you've been adding additional resources, probably not fast enough, so people were probably a little overworked and stressed. But as the orders sort of start to soften a little bit, you'll find that people are getting caught up and they're not as stressed, but what that probably tells you is you may be carrying a little bit more labor than you need to. So as a management team, you want to educate your frontline leaders to understand that there is this labor mix based on sales flow. And so as the order quantities are dropping, we need to adjust the labor down accordingly, or else we just won't be profitable. We'll lose more money and it'll put the success of the organization in jeopardy. So clarify what the right amount of labor is and explain it to the frontline leaders so they understand it. Second thing is to think through the options. Now, many times we've set up these work cells and production cells to deal with a certain number of workers, and maybe now we got to rethink that. So thinking through the different options and alternatives is helpful as we think about how we're going to reallocate the labor resources within the department. The third and final tip in this sequence is really to make the changes and then adjust as needed. I think people can get very judgmental. Well, that won't work and this won't work, and see, I told you that was too few people. The reality is we don't know these things for absolute certainty. And so what we've got to do is, like we do with any other change, we've got to go in with a curious and open mindset and view it more of as an experiment, because we might find that actually as we laid it out, as we thought it through, it's not working that way. We need to make another adjustment. And as long as you're open about it, you don't get defensive about it, you just realize, hey guys, we don't know how to do all this exactly right the first time. Let's just keep tinkering with it. It's totally normal. We thought we knew what we needed. It turns out we need to change it a little bit more. And if you can be that kind of agile leader who is just able to bounce around and get things right over time, I think that's all we can ask for in an organization. Now, of course, better times will be ahead. And so when you get thinking about where your organization needs to be positioned for the future, you probably will agree that investing in the skill sets of your frontline leaders is a great way of building your organization's capability for future growth. And of course, that's where we come in with our Frontline Leadership Training Program. It's a 3-day program or 6 half days, and it can be delivered in English, Spanish, or French. It can be delivered in person on site for your organization. We do have public workshops. Also have some on-demand offerings, and we can do the delivery through our virtual training studio on a live basis in a very interactive way. And of course, figuring out what is the best solution for you means a visit to our website at uniquedevelopment.com. There you can check out the different topics and the different alternatives and options for how we can partner with you. And what you'll find is once we do our first project together, like most of our clients, is you're going to see that, hey, now that that worked out well, let's look at what else we can do over a period of time to increase the capability of your leaders so that they can deliver higher performance from an operating basis, but also higher than ever employee engagement.